We are dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. Search but you stay lost. We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard. And I wonder where you are. Mysterious, that's the part you always show, 'cause you're too curious.
Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. In this video I will be reviewing the very controversial Subculture palette. Personally, I do not feel like it is for the very simple, natural person who does not like a lot of makeup and a shitload of pigment. This palette is super grungy, super unique. I've honestly never seen colors like these in any of the palettes I do own, and I do own a lot of palettes. Okay, so this palette is super controversial and I'll tell you why. I did this look using this palette, and this look will be in this video as well, just later on. I'll just show you how the shadows worked in person, and this is a live tutorial, so you will see this is my first time using this palette, so you'll see exactly my thoughts on it, how it blended, yada yada yada, all the good stuff. This palette had a lot of fallout. You probably you know this by now, because this video is out way too late, so a lot of fallout, you guys. But for me personally, these shadows blended amazing. I'll also mention how I applied a brown in my crease, yet it showed up almost gray when it mixed in with the shade on my lid. Again, there's no complaints about that, because I feel like that did make the look a lot better, a lot more intense, and everyone knows I'm about the dramatic life, so I did not mind that one bit. Fallout, that is one of the big things when it comes to this palette. There is a lot of fallout. This eyeshadow palette contains shadows that are very softly packed. Therefore, the softest touch will reveal the most pigment. So if you honestly go in digging your brush, there'll be tons of fallout because of the fact that this eyeshadow palette, and how many? There's 14 shades, so 11 out of the 14 shades are very softly packed. The other 3 are metallics, pretty sure. Yeah, the other 3 are metallics. The other 3 shades are metallics, but the other 11 shades are softly packed pigments. Therefore, there will be a lot of fallout. So be very light-handed when it comes to this palette, because I do love the colors. The colors I use blended up beautifully. So no major complaints until it came to the fallout. That's where it really sucked. There was a lot of fallout. Again, softly packed pigments. Remember that when you are using this palette. Alright, so we are going to just do a little zoom in of all the shadows in this palette. Beautiful shadows. Super unique. None of these colors you really see together on a lot of palettes that come out nowadays. So yeah, now I'm just going to be doing a couple swatches just to show you how super pigmented these shadows are exactly. So let's get into that. Alright, so the first shadow I will be showing you is Axis. Ready? Alright guys, so the next shade I want to dive into is All Star, which is beautiful maroon shades. So this is like calling my name, okay? So I gotta do it. So this is Rowdy. Now, the last shade I want to get into is Destiny, which is this really pretty army green khaki shade. That's so pretty. I do want to dip into one of the metallics, so I will use Cube because I did use Electric when it came to this eye look, so I want to get into Cube, so I'll just go into that with my phone. Did it even show up? I'm really digging into it. Please show up. Okay, maybe it's my skin tone. I'm trying to find a way to justify the fact that it's not really showing up. You can kind of tell. Not super pigmented, but you can see the iridescent pink kind of showing through. I'm not really impressed with that shade. So if you want to see a tutorial on this look using this palette, if you want to see how the shades that I used blended out, showed up, the pigment, the fallout, please keep watching. Alright guys, so the first shade I will be taking from the Subculture palette is the shade Dawn. There isn't really a shade that I can put down as a base, as you guys know from my previous tutorials that I like doing. So I will just put down any base I have. So far I have translucent powder on my lid just to act as a base since there isn't anything here. And I'll be picking up Dawn. And this is crazy. I don't really believe people when they said that the lightest touch will produce the most fallout ever, but if you take a look, right, look at that fallout. That's insane. And I just had the lightest tap ever. Anyways, tap off excess. Start applying. Oh, I could have used this as my base because this legit just blends in with, I'm so scared to tap it. This just blends in with my skin tone. So I'll just be putting that all over the lid now. I hate the fact that I feel like I'm wasting so much product. There's so much fallout, guys. This makes me so sad. Look at that. Okay, I'm just gonna blow off the excess. You guys probably saw that. It's crazy. Next shade I'll be taking into the crease is Roxy. Just a really pretty peach tone. Alright. That one has less fallout than the other one, but still there's a lot of fallout. Tap off the excess. Put that into your crease. Alright, it's a really pretty color. Fallout isn't bothering me that much as it did with Dawn. Still quite a bit of fallout, but Dawn was just insane. So far, I love the way these colors are blending. There isn't really much of a problem with that as of yet. I feel like when we do start to blend in the darker shades, that's when the problem will arise, so I'll wait on that. But for now, Roxy and Dawn, I do not have a problem with. So I want to start dipping into the darker shades. I'm going to go straight in. I'm going to go with Fudge. Beautiful hot chocolate brown. I'm a huge fan of hot chocolate browns. I'm just going to do a live dip in. Alright, so I'm just gonna dip into Fudge. Slightest touch. I'd say minimal fallout when it's not too bad. Fallout is still there, but what eyeshadow doesn't have fallout, honestly? They do say it is a soft packed pigment, and I do notice a lot of people are digging into it, which is the total wrong way to approach the product because it is clearly stated that it is a softly packed pigment, therefore the softest touch will reveal the most pigment. So be careful with that because that's what is really driving people nuts. Pigment. So dip into that and go into the outer V. Alright, I have no problem with the blending. I don't get what people are saying when they say it's not blending well. I do not have a problem with Fudge blending in as of right now. Maybe it is the fact that I'm not blending in any other super dark shadow with it. Right now I'm just using the transition shades that are available in the palette. Blended in Fudge, did not have a problem at all. Yeah, I blended in. Yeah, I tapped into the product around 4 to 5 times. There is fallout, but very minimal fallout. It's not, doesn't bother me. It's not like it's all over the shadows, all over the palette. On to the next shade. I will be using the brush that the palette did come with. All the palettes come with this brush. One is a flat shader brush and one is just a fluffy blending brush. I feel like the shade that I want to go in with is Untamed. I don't know, just a beautiful teal, well, dark teal shade. I'm just gonna go in with the flat side of this brush. Let's tap it in together, shall we? Right here. It's packed with the pigment. I'll just start dabbing it all over my lid and we'll see what happens. I'm just focusing this shade all over the lid. I do have to go over it a couple of times because it will end up being super patchy. I feel like that's good enough. Now I'm going to go back in with my blending brush, dip into fudge once again, and just start blending that out. I don't see a problem with this palette. Am I the only one? Like, I took fudge, I'm blending it into Untamed. You guys are watching me do it. I don't see a problem whatsoever. It's blending out beautifully. It's blending into Untamed amazingly. You can still see the transition shades such as Dawn and Roxy that we applied. You can still see that peek through the top right underneath the brow bone, which I'm not complaining about because that's initially what I wanted. The pigment of Untamed is still there. Honestly, I have no complaints. The only complaint I can really suggest is the fallout in the palette, which a lot of people are complaining about, but the shadows work amazingly as long as you know how to handle it. Pick up the pigment with soft touches and apply minimally and you're good. So I'm back and done with the other eye. One thing I did notice when I used fudge is with this eye look is that it did turn super cool toned. That's something I was not expecting. In the palette it seems like a super warm tone brown, but when I applied it, I look like I got two black eyes right now, but I'll fix that, don't worry. But when I applied it, it seems super cool tone and almost like a gray. But I don't know, I'm not complaining about it. Like, I actually like it. Alright, so I'm back from just cleaning up my under eyes. I just used whatever brush I used to apply my concealer on my face and just cleaned up the bottoms, mainly just cleaning up the sides because I do not want my eye to look super dark, like where it shouldn't be, because then I'll just end up looking like a raccoon. You know those, everybody knows those looks. Everyone knows that I do like a really smoked out lash line. So I'm just gonna go in with Roxy and slowly build up to maybe fudge. I'm still not super sure if I want fudge. So that's Roxy on the lower lash line. Now I'm going to go in with fudge. You can still see the fallout is still there. It's still super prominent. But it's not going all over the palette, which I'm happy about because it will, I feel like, ruin the other shadows. So I'm just gonna dip in very slightly, tap off the excess, and just go to the outer edges of my lower lash line. So that is the eyeshadow done. I'm just gonna apply a wing liner, some lashes, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I applied mascara, eyeliner, and my favorite lashes. If you don't know what my favorite lashes and what eyeliner I use, I will leave a link to my previous tutorial down below so you can check that out and find out. But like all my other tutorials, I do like adding inner corner highlight and a brow bone highlight. I go in with electric to highlight the inner corner of my eye as well as my brow bone. I will be going in with a small detail brush. Guys, so I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. Honestly, I approve this palette. If you're not really into these grungier tones, I wouldn't suggest it. I'm not really into these tones at all, but I feel like buying this palette will help me kind of step out of my comfort zone, get away from all those basic browns, nude tones, and jump into these crazy tones. So I do like the fact that I did purchase this palette. Hopefully it can create a lot cooler looks instead of something that's super basic. That's what I'm used to. But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and bye guys.